Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I love all of you and I hope you're alright. Today we're going to talk about Neuralink because apparently last Sunday, a week ago, they implanted the very first brain chip into a human being, which is bonkers. I don't even know what the future of humanity holds for us, but I'm excited and scared at the same time. I have a lot of concerns, I have a lot of questions, but we will get to that. First, I want to go over what is actually Neuralink, so I have a better understanding how does it work and what it is actually. But so without further ado, guys, let's just jump right into it. Elon Musk's Neuralink has implanted its first chip in a human brain. What's next? Okay. Billionaire technologist Elon Musk announced this week that his company Neuralink has implanted its brain-computer interface into a human for the first time. The recipient was recovering well, blah 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 blah. Each wireless Neuralink device contains a chip and electrode arrays of more than 1,000 super-thin, flexible conductors that a surgical robot threads into the cerebral cortex. Threads into the cerebral cortex. Oh my god. There, the electrodes are designed to register thoughts related to emotion. In Musk's vision, an app will eventually translate these signals to move a cursor or product text. In short, it will enable computer control by thinking. Imagine if Stephen Hawking could communicate faster than a what? Dude, I could barely keep up with Stephen Hawking anyway. Then I will need 5 of brain chips if Stephen Hawking could get one. Oh my god. God bless, R.I.P. Stephen Hawking. My man was such a genius. He literally solved the fucking secret of the universe equations on a freaking tablet. What are you talking about? Imagine. Neuralink's original ambitions, which Musk outlined when he founded the company in 2016, included meshing human brains with artificial intelligence. Its more immediate aims seem in line with the neural keyboards and other devices that people with paralysis already use to operate computers. Okay, so I read the article and it doesn't actually detailing or explaining how does it work. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna head to YouTube and we're gonna look up, we're gonna check a video.
Neuralink, Elon Musk's brain chip company, recently pushed back on claims that it violated animal welfare laws a few years ago while testing on monkeys. This year, the company plans to test on human subjects. But when it does, what would this major step mean for brain implant science?
Academics like me have conducted clinical trials in people with brain implants.
Dr. Paul Nyajukian is a professor of bioengineering and neurosurgery. He directs the brain interfacing laboratory at Stanford.
For about 20 years now. Academic research brain implants, up until this point, more or less, have almost exclusively been with wires. The difference that the N1 has, that the Neuralink, it's fully implantable, it is battery powered, it is wireless. All of this is being done over Bluetooth protocol.
Okay, right off the bat. I was really curious what he's gonna say. Like, how does it communicate? Because then, if it's wireless, then it should send the signal and receive some kind of signal. Now, my question is, in the future, maybe not with this Neuralink, maybe, with a more modern version or more updated version, can someone have access to your brain? Can someone, I don't know, infiltrate and hack into your brain? Can they erase memories? Can they add memories? Can they add false memories, false thoughts? Can they change your perception? Can they change who you are? Will be able to cure mental illnesses, whether it's chemical imbalance, whether it's schizophrenia, BPD, God no, depression. The possibilities are literally endless. If I'm just going on with this with this thing, also, how we can ensure that nobody can hack into it and have access to your brain, and just wow, it's bonkers. But okay, let's continue.
Dive into the science behind Neuralink to understand how exactly human brain chips work.
The science behind how these implants work is not that different from how you would go about trying to measure the energy from a AA battery. It's the same principle that we're doing with these brain implants. This is called neuroelectrophysiological recording. When you move your arm to the right, certain sets of neurons are activated in a certain pattern. Listening in to that activity and that pattern, you can predict very quickly which direction the arm is going to move. These are the neurons that are directly wired to your muscle.
unless that pathway from the brain to the spinal cord to the muscle is damaged, the way it is in patients with paralysis.
That pathway is damaged, then the neural signals, the signals from the brain, aren't going to get down to move the muscles. But
Okay.
in many cases, the signals are still present in the brain. They're just not getting out. So if you reach in and put something that listens in to those neurons, and you know what's happening to the muscle.
And that's the goal of a brain implant. Now let's look at a timeline of brain interface breakthroughs over the years. Scholars have long been interested in how the brain works, so it's important to view these new developments at Neuralink as a culmination of breakthroughs by brain-machine interface researchers, especially in the last few decades. For example,
Okay, so the first video gave me a general idea how does it work. I wouldn't say that I completely understand because again I'm just a simple-minded person. But yeah, generally they observing the brain and they're trying to decode the neurons and the pathways of the neurons. How do they behave? Where do they go? And they decoding the signal, so they know that this path means that you're moving your right limbs or left limbs. And the question is that can they do the same thing with just thoughts? Like. I don't know if you know what I mean, but yeah, once we're gonna have a better understanding how the human brain actually works, the possibilities are endless with this thing. They literally gonna create superhumans. But here's a video where Elon Musk explains Neuralink.
I'll be honest, of all the things you do and all the companies you run, I think it's all awesome. The one thing that does concern me, and I know concerns a lot of people out there, so I do have to bring it up, which is Neuralink.
Sure.
So firstly, can you explain what Neuralink is and what the goal of it is?
We put a chip in your brain to control your mind.
Oh, brother. Yo, I can already see the future. The new wave of entrepreneurs, life coach is gonna be like, hey, just give us full control over your mind and we're gonna make all your dreams come true. You're gonna be the perfect wife, the perfect husband, the perfect friend, the perfect lover, the perfect dad, everything you want to be. Just give us success. And you can sign up for, I don't know, $99 a month and you get 3 days without any ads. Because then at that point you're gonna have like augmented reality ads. You're just gonna look at the wall and then suddenly an ad just gonna pop up. Yo, that is scary. Okay, brother.
All right, concerns not
Yeah,
alleviated.
there you go. Jump right in. Step right up. Who wants one? No, so Neuralink, you'll be able to see Neuralink coming from a very long distance because any device that you implant in a human you have to go through so many tests. It moves very slowly. You just do a few people at a time, and then you go to extreme lengths to prove safety. You have to go through the FDA approvals. Like, we're not trying to sidestep any,
Does the FDA actually checks? What about the Bluetooth connection? What about that safety? Because I haven't heard anyone talking about it. Maybe he's gonna mention it in the video, but I'm really curious. How do you make it hack proof so that nobody can have access to your brain chip? That is another, a huge obstacle they have to overcome. Because, there's many bad people that they're gonna, use the technology for their advantage or for bad things, What if you can just ruin someone's life, make him crazy, put him in a virtual reality within his own brain? Like, wow, that you could torture someone in a virtual reality. Where you're sending out signals to his brain to make him feel that if you're cutting his hand off, he's gonna actually see and feel that way. Like, that is crazy.
regulatory approvals. We're doing everything, by the book and with maximum. We're going far beyond what the requirements are of the FDA from a safety standpoint.
As you should.
And the initial devices will really just be pretty basic. It'll be about restoring functionality to people who've lost their connection between their brain and their body. So you can imagine, like, if, say, Stephen Hawking could talk or communicate as fast as somebody with a fully functioning body.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't do that, please. We wouldn't be able to keep up with him. Imagine Elon Musk with a brain chip.
That would be amazing.
Or Harry Mack with the brain chip. Imagine that thing. Oh my God.
That's like what we're trying to do. That's our first application, is to restore functionality to quadriplegics, tetraplegics, and people who have just for whatever reason no longer have a connection between, or have a limited connection between their brain and their body. And then the second application would be restoration of eyesight. So if somebody's gone completely blind, maybe even has lost the optic nerve, you can actually still directly stimulate the neurons in the visual part of the cortex.
That is crazy. That was exactly my question in the previous video. Well, because obviously the first application is going to be, they're going to try to help with people who have paralysis. But then I asked, like, what if you could restore eyesight? Can you restore eyesight? Can you help someone who's deaf? And again, can you help someone who's, I don't know, schizophrenic or have BPD? And, you know, the list just goes on. Also, another thing, now that I think about it, what if we approach this whole artificial intelligence from a completely wrong direction? What if putting a chip, a Neuralink, into a human brain creates a little artificial intelligence? Meaning you can cut out all the human basic instincts, you know, greed, and, you know, you can kind of override it, change the human personality, and, you know, make him, I wouldn't say emotionless, but kind of emotionless, think 1,000 times faster than any regular human being, but at the same time he's still conscious. That is a real artificial intelligence, because then he have the speed, the computing power of a supercomputer. I wouldn't say quantum computer, because that's impossible to even comprehend. But then he have the computing power and speed of a supercomputer in a human body. That is an artificial intelligence, in my opinion. But let's continue.
So you can give a direct vision to the brain. In fact, you could actually, depending upon what cameras you use, you could actually see in different wavelengths.
Okay.
You know, like
depending on what cameras you use. Wait, what? No.
In the visual part of the cortex. So you can give a direct vision to the brain. In fact, you could actually, depending upon what cameras you use, you could actually see in different wavelengths.
Wow. Okay, I think I understood it. First, I thought that, you know, they're going to replace the eye with an actual camera. But then, you know, I had to think about it. But if this thing communicates via Bluetooth, that it means that it can it can receive signal, right? So what I think he's talking about is that you can use a camera outside of his body and just kind of send the signal into his brain, and then he will see like different wavelengths. That is, wow, bonkers.
Okay.
You know, like Geordie LaForge from, like, you know, you could like have that, like, I actually watched like an episode of Star Trek Next Generation with special effects compared to what we're used to, are like, you know, not that great, but he's got like the wraparound, you know, glasses, and he can see in different wavelengths. So you can see like ultraviolet, you know, infrared, and that kind of thing. So you can actually do that. You could say, like, you could see in radar if you want. You know?
And what's the long-term goal?
Brother, what do you mean? Which is, yeah, I didn't even thought about it. Again, if it's communicating via Bluetooth, you can just send out signals, and it can receive signals, which means you can just, you know, oh my God, you can just transfer the signal to his brain chip, and then he will actually see in radar, or, you know, in, I don't know, night vision.
Goal for it, because I think,
God,
myself and others, I think the first part sounds fine. Sounds good.
That's like hard to argue with. You know?
Yeah. But long term, I think the concern that people have is this just leading us into this dystopian transhumanist future? Where does it go? What are the ethical boundaries of it?
Well,
there is no ethical boundaries. Like, we are becoming God at that point, because God knows what else we can replace. We can, at that point, we will be able to replace organs. We will be able to replace limbs, actual body parts. We would be able to build a robot. Like it's wow. Okay, this is deeper than I thought.
I mean, the thing I wanted to emphasize is that it's not going to like sort of pounce on us overnight.
Also, who is the one who's gonna draw the line? Where are the ethical boundaries? That is also another thing. Who's gonna say what's good and what's bad in terms of like, okay, if they can cure, I don't know, mental illnesses, then at that point they will be able to actually change your thoughts, or the way, or again, your perception of the world, or the way you look at things. So again, it's a very double-edged sword. Like it's a slippery slope.
Where does it go? What are the ethical boundaries of it?
Well, I mean, the thing I wanted to emphasize is that it's not going to like sort of pounce on us overnight.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see it coming. It's going to be very slow. In fact, I really think that artificial general intelligence or digital superintelligence is likely to arrive before we have really advanced neural links. At least that's where the trend is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is crazy, but I think we look at, in my opinion, once we have the brain chip inserted into a human brain, and then we start, play with the settings in the human brain, and overriding things, changing things. At that point, and especially if you can actually accelerate the speed of which a human being actually thinks or calculates or do calculations, at that point we created the artificial intelligence, because it's artificial but have the computing speed and power of a supercomputer, but at the same time it's also conscious because it's a human being. I think, in my opinion, that is the first artificial intelligence.
But ultimately the idea would be to achieve a symbiosis between our biological mind and our kind of digital mind. So we're already kind of a cyborg if you think of like your phone and your computers as an extension of yourself.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an extension, yeah.
Like if you leave your phone behind, it's like you have missing limb syndrome. You're like, where did it go, So the phone is a kind of an extension of ourselves, like computer is. The various applications that we use are already an extension of self. So we are already a cyborg. It's just that the interface is with our eyes and our fingers.
Yeah.
True. And that interface, especially output, the rate at which we can type words into a phone or a computer, it's very slow. Our input is much better because with the data rate from vision is, I don't know, many thousands of times, maybe a million times better than the rate at which we can
actually express it.
So input is like maybe, I don't know, roughly a million times better than output. And so what a Neuralink device can do is improve that bandwidth, allow you to be sort of much more symbiotic with the AI extension of yourself.
Yeah, your phone is going to be literally part of your brain. That's what he means. It's going to be like kind of like one of the Black Mirror in one of the Black Mirror episodes. It's sort of like an augmented reality where they can they see the front of them, like it's projected to your eyesight, so other people are not able to actually see it, but it's going to be part of your brain. Everything. You're going to take photos with your eyes, just like in the Black Mirror episodes. You're going to send messages. You're going to open up the browser or the WhatsApp or any application, and what you want to send, like if it's a text message or something, you're just going to think about it and it's going to immediately just pop up on the screen, and then you're just going to send. So it's going to be, he's right about it. But at that point, again, it's just going to be part of your brain, which is, I don't want to do that. Like no, that is scary. But again, I think that our generation and maybe the next 2-3 generations is not necessarily going to have brain implant. But if you think about it, in a 50, let's say 150 years from now, I am almost certain that people gonna get Neuralink when they are born, right off the bat. Day one, you're gonna get a Neuralink brain implant, so you can be a part of that. That's gonna be the norm, in my opinion, in a couple of hundreds of years from now. But let me know in the comment section if you disagree with with me or the things that I said. because I think this topic is just super interesting.
So you can think of like a human brain really is could be arguably divided into two parts. One is kind of like the primitive brain, the reptile brain, it's sometimes called. It's like a sort of basic instincts, and then we've got the cortex, like the higher level thinking, planning, and that kind of thing. But the two operate symbiotically. So I haven't yet met anyone who wants to delete their limbic system or delete their cortex. Everyone's quite happy having both.
Yeah.
They're like, I like it the way it is, But your cortex is way smarter than your limbic system. But the irony is that even though the cortex is way smarter than the limbic system, most of what it's doing is trying to make the limbic system happy. It's like limbic system's hungry. Okay, let's get some food. The limbic system is horny. Okay, let's have sex or whatever. I mean, the sheer amount of effort the cortexes of all the humans have put into trying to get laid is insane.
It's got to keep the species going.
True that.
Yeah, but not even if it's not for procreation. Like the limbic system is really like too simple to understand that like sex does not result in procreation, because for almost all of human existence that it did. Birth control is a very recent thing. So
condoms and whatnot.
The limbic system is like trying to incent procreation, and but now we can effectively hack the limbic system.
Yeah, but I have another question. Once you're gonna have the brain chips, most likely you're gonna be most likely you're gonna be able to override this basic reptile instincts, if that makes any sense. They're just gonna be like, okay, you don't need this, this is just stupid. And again, that's sort of a creation of like an artificial intelligence, because you're just gonna be smarter, but at the same time you're not gonna have the basic. I mean, you're still gonna need to eat and gonna have sex, but certain things I'm pretty sure you're gonna be able to override. Aggression, they're gonna play with the settings, let's put it this way.
System by doing procreation, but by having sex without procreation. So, which is, I guess, maybe part of the issue with why do we have more kids? Is like in the past it would just happen because in order to make your limbic system happy, you'd have sex. You didn't have birth control, so if you'd pop out some kids.
Yes.
So that's how it used to be. So even though you've got a cortex that's way smarter than the limbic system, the cortex is still basically just trying to make the limbic system happy. And
yeah, but what if you just can change you can tune the settings in the cerebral cortex the way a human brain actually thinks or see things? What if you can play with that? What if you can change those things?
And then if you think of like the computers as a sort of a third layer, the AI is a third layer. It's not necessarily the case that the AI would be acting contrary to our interests. I think if it's closely linked with biological intelligence, I think it could actually be just simply, again, trying to make the cortex happy, which is trying to make the limbic system happy. So I think we'll put even more computing power into trying to get laid, basically.
True.
Now the AI is going to help you get laid.
I think what it is that concerns people about it, number one being new, but I think the main thing is the fact that this is something that's like inside your body.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I think the idea of putting a chip in, the idea of someone putting a chip in my brain, I just have I have a visceral
reaction.
No, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a very
it's
visceral reaction.
It's an optional thing. I mean, we're not going to.
Would it be though long term?
I hope so. I think it should be optional.
Yeah,
it'd be bizarre if it was not. No, I think it's
kind of like how.
Yeah, again, you say right now in 2024 that it should be optional, but what's gonna happen in 2200 or I don't know, 2100? What's like 100, 200 years from now, if we're still gonna be here as humanity? If we haven't killed ourselves or destroyed the planet until then, is it going to be optional? Is it? Or you're going to have like two class of people? You're going to have like the old, regular, normal human beings, and then you're going to have the super human beings? Can they create, because also the military applications, they're literally going to create super soldiers with night vision and, I don't know, run faster, aim better, things like that. Like, it's, imagine if you're a sniper right now, you need a spotter who helps you to actually, calculate the wind, the gravity of the planet, the curvature of the planet, stuff like that. But if you have a brain chip with an actual AI, you're gonna do those calculations like this in a second. It's gonna change so many things in our future that we can't even comprehend how the future gonna look like at this point. Because until now, you had a rough idea how the world gonna look like in 50 years from now, 100 years from now, even though you couldn't really. But this thing, and especially with art AI and everything that is coming right now, we have no idea. Not to mention that once the brain chip is gonna start, giving actually better computing and calculating power and speed to human beings. Imagine if you have already super smart like Einstein or Stephen Hawking, as he said, and then you're giving him a brain chip that has an artificial intelligence, and what is that human being gonna? What kind of discoveries is that human being is gonna come up with? Calculations, and then it's just gonna speed up the process, the evolution of the technological advancement of human beings. It's crazy.
The reason I ask is because smartphones right now are sort of optional, but if you don't have a smartphone, the way everything is sort of designed around society, you cannot have a smartphone, but it's a massive hindrance and disadvantage in many ways.
True. A smartphone is almost essential in a modern society to do things.
Yeah. So could a Neuralink,
unless you leave off the grid, but let's be honest, you struggle if you don't have a smartphone. Not necessarily struggle, but it's convenient. Let's put it this way.
end up in that same sort of place?
It's possible, but I'm
That's
just
a good
saying,
question.
if it does, it's
Wait, what did he
in a
ask?
modern society to do things.
Yeah. So could a Neuralink end up in that same sort of place?
It's
real.
possible, but I'm just saying, if it does, it's many decades from now. So it's not like,
obviously.
it's not today's problem.
Yeah.
I'd worry a bit more about digital superintelligence. I'd worry about let's try to avoid World War III.
Yeah, but that's because just because it's not today's problem doesn't mean that you can actually think about it or take it into consideration when you talk about. And I think we should talk about these kind of things. Where it's gonna lead, will it be optional, or as I said, like 100, 200 years from now, or many decades, as he's saying, will it be right when you were born, they're gonna just implant the brain chip for you? There's a lot of questions, and again, imagine if you have will the government gonna have access to it? Because at that point, the government can literally control the human population, the way they think, the way they, see the world, everything. That is also another danger.
Let's make sure we're at least having enough kids to sustain our population. Basic stuff like that.
Isn't the population is growing actually?
What's your greatest concern with artificial intelligence? Because I know that
Wait.
you have worked with it, but also...
Okay, so yeah, the rest of the video they're talking about artificial intelligence and AI replacing jobs, which it's not today's topic, so I think it's enough for today. I think I said everything that I had to. I gave voice to all my questions and concerns. But if I have to summarize, what I think about this thing, I think it's amazing. I think the possibilities are endless. I think it's really interesting. It's actually almost mind-blowing. And we can't even comprehend the things that's going to happen in the future. Can you change a human being into something, less like emotionless, cold, calculated, sort of like a computer, but still conscious? Can you do that? Can you change, the perception of some person? Can you cure mental illnesses? Can you cure? Because at that point, I'm pretty sure cancer will be able. They will be able to cure cancer. It's crazy. It's crazy. And again, what about the military applications? How the human future gonna look like? we are living in a really, really interesting times. But again, guys, I think I said everything. Let me know in the comment section what do you think about this whole thing? How our future gonna look like? What's your opinion? And yeah, I hope I see you in the next one. I love all of you guys. Take care, and bye, YouTube. Bye bye.